One of the most frequent questions I get asked is, hey, what's up with the beard? Well, in today's video, we're gonna tell you what's up. Let's get after it. You know, every single superhero and every single supervillain has an origin story. And while I do not claim to be either a superhero or a supervillain, I thought it'd be good to discuss the origin story of this thing right here, the beard. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at some history on how it came to be, and then more importantly, what it represents today with regards to ALLCHOICE Insurance. So let's jump back in time and let's talk about how all of this began. Before we start there, let me tell you this. For the most part, I always had some sort of facial hair. Going back to college, I had that sweet goatee look. I think even once or twice I did the Tim McGraw soul patch. So it's not like I went from no hair to this in one fell swoop. So let's look and remember back to the year 2012. Year 2012, I remember it like it's yesterday. I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was at a hotel that actually overlooked the Erie Lake. It's a beautiful setting. And I get a call from my wife. Now at this point in time, I am mid-30s. And she called to let me know that a member of our church that we went to church with together had passed away. And people pass away, that's part of life. Death is part of life. But this one hit close to home because this was someone that was right about my age, had young children right about my children's age, and he left behind a young wife and young kids. And it really hit home. And while this person and I weren't great friends, I did hear through the grapevine that every last quarter of the year, he would let his facial hair grow out. And so as a way to pay honor to what had taken place, I decided, you know what, this year, I'll just let my beard grow out for the last quarter of the year. And thus began the transformation of clean, buttoned up Jack Wingate to the guy that you see today. So 2012, last quarter of the year, let my facial hair grow out. Great. January 1st comes, I shave it all back down to normal. And my wife looks at me and says, you know what? What would happen if we let it go for a full year? Because, with 3 quarters or 3 months worth of facial hair, it's not very long, even for the most adept beard growers. So this was right around the time of Duck Dynasty fame, where, the Robertsons all had big beards. And I said, my wife is willing to let me grow out a beard. Let's just see what happens. So for 2013, we let it go. I'm talking about we didn't even trim it up on the sides. We did nothing. Now at the time, there wasn't as much gray, but we just let it go. And it was pretty daggum cool. So again, January 1st of 2014 comes, shave it all off. And honestly, I just liked the way it felt and the way it looked and kind of how I felt about myself. So we just started letting it grow again. But at this point in time, I didn't let it just go. We started trimming it down. We started using product in it. It became a whole thing. So 2014 is really the last time that we fully trimmed it back to where it was not what you see today. Okay, so 2014, 2015, we're rocking the beard. We are owning it. And around this time, I was working out at a CrossFit gym. Shout out to CrossFit District 5 in Clemens, North Carolina, at the time in Louisville, North Carolina, a bunch of great people there. And so as we work out, we're wearing t-shirts. And I was buying t-shirts from this vendor, buying t-shirts from that vendor, and just things to do. It's kind of cool. I thought, I'd really like to be able to advertise my company. And so at the time, I had a friend who was a graphic designer, and I said, hey man, let's come up with something. I mean, beards are cool. They're in right now. Let's make up something so, I can have a t-shirt to wear. Because at the time, the logo for ALLCHOICE Insurance were some blocks, blue and gray blocks. I mean, this right here, that's what our insurance agency logo looked like. So my friend designs a logo and it was really, really cool. I said, all right, cool. So we created our first t-shirt, wear it, walk into the gym and like all the people in the gym are like, oh, that's cool. Can I get one? And so we start handing shirts out, and it kind of takes on a life of its own. And then one day I said, you know what? Let's put it in our email signature. And I was the only one that did it, so I put it in the email signature. And lo and behold, I started getting comments back like, hey, this is crazy. Who is this? This is awesome. And this was from carriers, this was from clients all over the board. So I started thinking, you know, insurance in general, typically you picture the insurance agent as the guy wearing the khaki pants, wearing a tie, and honestly, that just wasn't us. So I was like, maybe I'm onto something here with this beard thing. And so probably around that time is when I started thinking, maybe we need to go all in on this beard thing. Okay, so the beard works. You know, the beard's playing well with you know, clients, with people wanting the shirts. It's taking on a life of its own. And around that time, it was about time to refresh our website. And so, I mean, what else would you do? We went all in on the beard. We put the beard on the website. I mean, it was now a thing, right? And I started thinking about it. You know, yes, it looked cool. It was catchy. But then I started really thinking about what it meant. You see, over my years in insurance, look, there was a year where I wore a suit every day just because I thought it was cool. And honestly, suits was a big show at the time. But I said, you know, we do things differently at ALLCHOICE. We're not the tie guy. We're not the, you know, trying to act like we're more than we are. We did insurance a little bit differently. And we were okay with that. We were okay with if you as a client didn't like to deal with someone with a beard, well then you probably weren't the client, you know, for us, and we weren't the agency for you, and we were okay with that. So we as an agency moved all in and said, you know what, we're gonna do things differently than everyone else. And we started focusing on education. We started focusing on the fact that whether or not we could do business with you, whether or not that, you know, we were the agency for you, we wanted you to walk away and go, you know what, those guys are really trustworthy. And also, they actually taught me something about my insurance. And so I'm a better insurance consumer today because of them, regardless of whether I write my check to that agency. So we now look at the beard as a mark of honor that we're different than all the other agencies out there. We might not be for you, we might not be for everyone, but when you come to us, you can trust that we're gonna give you the truth and we're gonna look out for your best interests. And it's not just lip service. So the beard from its early beginnings is just sort of a way to pay honor to a fallen peer. To what it is today, man, it's more than just, you know, this and looking good and having your beard look good. It actually stands for something, stands for being different. It stands for standing upon your convictions. Okay, so there you have it. There is the origin story of the beard, walking you all the way through what it means today and why we as an agency buy all in, and yes, even our female employees buy all in to the beard concept. They don't have beards. Not that they couldn't, but they don't. Hopefully this answers your question about why this crazy guy with a beard is all up in my business all the time on YouTube. Hey guys, until next time, we'll see you.